The day my father died, he left me $5 million and a door that had been locked for 20 years. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, a real door. At the end of a narrow hallway in a mansion I didn't even know he still owned. And written into his will, in cold legal language, was one sentence that would unravel everything I thought I knew about my family. The room at the end of the East Wing corridor is not to be opened for 20 years. It now belongs to my daughter. I hadn't seen my father in 7 years when the lawyer called. My name is Eleanor Whitmore. I'm 42 years old. I build my life around predictability, spreadsheets, schedules, quiet mornings. I believed chaos belonged to other families, until mine handed me a key. The mansion sat on a cliffside overlooking the Atlantic, 3 hours from where I lived. I remember the first time I saw it again after all those years. The iron gates were rusted at the hinges, the driveway cracked like dry earth, weeds climbing the marble fountain in front as if nature itself had been trying to swallow it whole. I grew up there, at least until I was 12. That was the year my mother packed 2 suitcases, grabbed my hand, and left without saying goodbye to my father. She never explained why. And he never came after us. So when the lawyer told me I was the sole heir, no cousins, no charities, no secret second family, just me, it felt less like a gift and more like a final move in a game I didn't know we were playing. $5 million in assets, the mansion, investment accounts, and that locked room. The caretaker, Mr. Halvorsen, had been living in the gatehouse for decades. He was thinner than I remembered, his hair now completely white, but his eyes, they were the same. Watchful. Measuring. He didn't smile when I arrived. He told me you'd come eventually, he said. Eventually. Like this had always been inevitable. The mansion smelled like old wood and salt. Dust hung in the air like suspended time. Most of tea. Not stored. Not forgotten. Buried. That night I called my mother. She didn't answer. I left a message. Casual. Light. Just checking in. She called back an hour later. I told her about the inheritance. Silence. Then I told her about the locked room. Her breathing changed. Don't open it, she said. Not angry. Not afraid. Urgent. Why? Another silence. Then, your father wasn't the man you think he was. I almost laughed. I don't think he was anything. He abandoned us. No, she whispered. I left. That stopped me. You left because of that room, didn't you? She hung up. I didn't sleep. At 3:17 a.m., I stood in front of the door with the key in my hand. Felt heavier than it should have. I told myself I was being dramatic. It was probably storage. Old furniture. Tax documents. But then why seal it for 20 years? Why write it into the will? Why did my mother panic? My hand shook as I slid the key into the lock. Turned too easily. The deadbolt clicked. The sound echoed down the hallway like a gunshot. When I pushed the door open, the smell hit me first. Not rot. Not decay. Paper. Paint. Time. The room wasn't empty. It was preserved. Like a museum. On the left wall, hundreds of photographs pinned from floor to ceiling. All of me. From infancy to 12 years old. Candids. School events. Backyard moments. Photos my father had taken. Photos my mother had taken. Photos I didn't recognize. Some were from angles that suggested I didn't know I was being photographed. My chest tightened. In the center of the room stood a long wooden table covered in journals. Stacks and stacks of them. Dated. Every year. In my father's handwriting. On the right wall hung architectural blueprints. Not of the house. Of a smaller structure. A hidden one. Beneath the mansion. My legs felt weak. I opened the nearest journal. It wasn't a diary. It was documentation. Observations about me. Behavioral notes. Emotional responses. Interactions with my mother. It read like a research study. Fresh air circulating from below. Someone had maintained this. I grabbed a flashlight from the hallway and went down. Each step felt like crossing into a version of my father I never knew. At the bottom was a steel door. Unlocked. Inside was a laboratory. Not high-tech, but deliberate. Computers. Filing cabinets. Recording equipment. And at the center a hospital bed. My throat closed. This wasn't storage. This was experimentation. One of the computers was still connected to power. I pressed the button. It hummed to life. Files filled the desktop. Genetic mapping. Blood work. DNA comparisons. Mine. My mother's. And a third profile labeled unknown donor. I stared at it confused. Until I found the folder titled Phase 2. Inside were documents detailing a genetic research project focused on hereditary neurological enhancement. My father hadn't been documenting my childhood. He had been studying it. I wasn't just his daughter. I was an experiment. The journals upstairs weren't sentimental. They were data logs. My mother didn't leave because of an affair or abuse. She left because she discovered what he was doing, what he intended to do next. One final file sat in the folder. A recorded video, dated the day before she left. I pressed play. My father appeared on screen. Older. Tired. But focused. If you are watching this, Eleanor, it means the 20 years have passed. It means you are old enough to understand. Everything I did was to advance science. To push the boundaries of what we believed possible. You were never in danger. You were extraordinary. The enhancements worked. Enhancements. I felt sick. He explained that he had altered my genetic profile before I was born using experimental procedures funded privately. I wasn't chosen randomly. I was engineered. My mother discovered the truth when she found the lab. She threatened to expose him. He sealed it instead. And let her leave. The 20-year clause wasn't about hiding a crime. It was about waiting to see I sold the mansion. Every brick of it. The lab was dismantled under legal supervision. The research was turned over to authorities anonymously. The money was donated to ethical medical foundations focused on transparency and consent. And the locked room? I kept the door. Just the door. It sits in my office now. A reminder. Not of betrayal, but of choice. I can't change how I was created. I can't rewrite the decisions my parents made. But I can decide what I do with the life I was given. The truth is, the locked room wasn't beneath the house. It was inside my family, sealed with silence. And sometimes the inheritance you receive isn't money. It's answers you never asked for. If you think you know the people who raised you, ask yourself this. What doors in your life were closed before you were old enough to question why? Because one day you might inherit the key. And what you find on the other side might not just change your past. It might redefine who you are.